Supposed to be a public road, look at this. Very nice. Oh, can't see a damn thing. Well, can't hear any music. Good morning. There's quite a lot of music playing. So, Jovelyn is actually going to vote. It's 8:45 in the morning. And yesterday there weren't a lot of people in Murcia. We came into Murcia quite late. And that's the reason, you know. Good morning, Murcia. That's it, look. It's voting today. So it's voting today. This video won't get uploaded while tomorrow, and then the voting's over. So I'm actually going to go up into the plaza, and what I'll probably do is I'll probably have a walk round Murcia. But you know, it's a voiceover, and it looks like they've done the road here. Look, slow down, men at work. Slow down here in the Philippines. Right, so like I said, Jovelyn's off to the school. Good morning! So Jovelyn's off to the school, and morning, and I'll actually go and walk around the plaza. Because if I go in the school, which I might do, there's always a queue or a lot of people. So, you know, so I think I'm going to do. Oh, it's the army. It's the army. Now is the army coming to Murcia this morning? Because it's voting day. Probably so. Probably so. Or they might just be coming to do a little bit of shopping. And actually it might look like army, but it could be police. Hi guys, it's a voiceover. Looks like this chap's cleaning his battery bike, e-bike, with a big stone under the front wheel. Well, you know, we're having a nice walk around Murcia Town, but, you know, it's the day after, and, you know, last night, actually, this was Monday night, this is Monday, we're on Tuesday now. Boom! Sounds like the Canlahan volcano. She erupted, and we heard the bang, and it was a big crack and a big bang. So a good morning to the lovely ladies, the lovely guys at the fire service. So absolutely lovely. So, you know, I'm gonna have a Jovelyn has actually gone to do her voting. So I'm just gonna have a little walk around Murcia Town. Actually, last year she was in there quite a while, a long time, because there were a big queue. But this year she was more or less in, she voted, and then she come back out. But you know, like I said, I decided to have a nice walk around Murcia. Lovely now, because we've got rain. Now, actually later on, when we left Murcia, I can actually hear now, I don't know if you can hear it on camera, on the video. In the background you can hear a lot of thunder, see the lightning. Now I don't know if that's the volcano rumbling away, but a lot of people here heard it last night, and it's big news now. Canlahan volcano erupting, that's in our place. Oh wow. Don't know if you can hear that, but wow, she's absolutely banging away. That's the volcano. very, very dangerous now. So, like I said, just having a walk around Murcia, and I'm walking up through the plaza. But an actual wonder, an actual spectacle here, guys. The volcano of Negros Occidental, the Canlahan, very famous. So, like I said, I'm just going to have a walk around, see what's going off. And there's not many people really in town. And it's got to be a voiceover for you new guys. Thanks for all the new subscribers. And you haters and bashers, thank you very much for your lovely comments. Right, so basically, that's what I'm doing now, just having a walk around town. And, later on I do come back to the plaza, sit there and wait for Joveline, and then she goes for a bit of shopping. Now, I don't know what's happening with the election. We're on Tuesday, and I don't know who's in, and I don't know who's out. I never really make it my business. Politics here in the Philippines basically belongs to politics here in the Philippines. So, it's something I very, very, very rarely chat about. But, Murcia, it's looking quite empty this morning. And as I'm walking round Murcia, I have a chat to a lot of the guys or to the ladies. And, they've already been and voted. And it's round about, we got there about 8:30, past 8, into Murcia. Wow, very hot. I can hear that thunder cracking away. And like I said, it sounds, when the volcano is erupting, that's what it sounds like. Boom. And, nature. So that's what I'm doing. I'm actually having a little walk around. And, it's quite nice actually to get into town, and it's really hot. I'm sat here now in the bedroom where it's a little quiet, so to speak. That much noise and music going off in the barangay. So, it's very, very hot now in the Philippines. Very, very humid. Now that's where the vote across there, look. Looks like these guys are waiting for a pickup, going to work. So, maybe we're waiting for a car or a taxi or a tricycle. Across there, that's the school, and that's where Joveline's gone to vote. So that's where they're voting, across the road there. So there's a new bike shop as well. I'm going to visit the new bike shop later on this week, next week, if I get time. If I actually remember. So, that's what I'm doing now. I'm in the plaza, walking up through the plaza. Yeah, it would be really nice, I don't... Make a comment. Can you hear the music in the background, meaning the volcano? So, I'm sure that's going to be broadcast all over the world. One of the spectacles of the world, a volcano. Something I actually wanted to come and see in the Philippines, and I've seen quite a good few now. Absolutely beautiful. So that's what I'm going to do, walk round town. It's a little empty, and I was surprised this morning walking up through the plaza. I actually thought, well, it's going to be packed. There'll be a lot of people in Murcia, but not so. You see, a lot's already voted, and later on they'll probably just come and vote as they please. But, it got to 1 o'clock and it actually chucked it down with rain. So, I'll chat about that later in the video. So, I'm just having a stroll round. Not like I said, you can see the plaza's quite empty. And when I get onto the streets as well, quite empty, and a lot of the shops are closed because it's a voting day here in Murcia. It's like an holiday. So it's basically an holiday, and a lot of people are not working today, but a lot of people, it's just a normal working business day. The market's open. We'll nip to the market later on. Yeah, now we're going to get some rain any minute now. And when we left Murcia yesterday, I think it was about 1 o'clock, past 1 o'clock, and it was very, very, very hot, very humid, wet through, sweating, and thought, wow, let's go home, let's go back to the house. We got back to the house, walked in the door, wow, absolutely lovely and fresh, a little cold so to speak, and then it actually banged it down with rain, which were very much appreciated. The lovely rain, absolutely beautiful. So really happy to get that rain, very nice. So that's what I'm doing actually. It seems like I'm in the plaza for quite a long time. And where are we off to? I think we're going to have a walk down past the cafes and see what's open. So, don't see anyone. I know quite a lot of people here, but, don't see anyone I really chat to. Because I've got one or two friends, but there's a lot of friendly people around. And it looks like these guys are having the nails done. And these guys are here very, very early in the morning. And I'm sure they're doing a great job. I always laugh when I pass this. And I'd love to have it done myself. Get my nails done, get your feet done. It's good for your health and it's very good. This is the famous, undefeated world champion Donny Natos. And he's from Concilian originally. And he's now living in Cebu City, in Cebu, and he also lives here on Murcia, Negro Occidental. As far as I know, he's living somewhere around the area. Like I said, absolutely nice guy. I've met the guy. You'll see in the previous videos, very, very famous. Like I said, the Philippines is known for its world champion boxers. And he's undefeated world champion. Can't say no more than that. He's up there with Manny Pacquiao. So we're going to have a little walk through the alley here. And I see this bike, and I've actually seen this bike in Yamara. That is a Yamara, because I've seen a brand new one in Yamara. Go back to the previous videos. And I actually like the look of this bike. And the seat looks quite comfortable too. That's what I like about it. The trouble with trail bikes, enduro bikes, they're not very comfortable. The seat's just not made for comfort. And a lot of the bikes have got bad suspension, but you pay for suspension on a motorbike. That's why you pay big money. But they're not very comfortable to tour around on. So if you're touring on a motorbike, make sure that seat is very comfortable. I mean, I love XTZs, XTs, very nice. And KLX 300s, CR 300s, CRF 300s. These ladies have been to vote. I'm just chatting to these ladies, and they've already been and voted. And I asked them if they'd voted, and so that's it. They're not very comfortable at all, these bikes. XLs, XTs, CRFs, KLX, really nice bike. I do love them. I love a 300, 450, but just not made for touring long distance. I should know. Now, I'm sure you'll have a sore ass if you ride this for 20 kilometres. It's an XR, and I really like the XR. They ought to make a new one. So it's an XR200, and there's a lot of these bikes in Murcia. Now, a guy wanted to swap one of these XRs for my XTZ. I said, no way. It's an old bike. I don't know how powerful they are. They should be quite a little bit torquey. Never had a ride on one, so I don't know how good they are. They do a 400 and a lot like the 400. I've been on the 600 and I think it's very, very underpowered. So the XR 600, it were either 600 or 650. Wow, very overrated bike. And it's a very high, it's made for a tall rider. So this is where we are, we're passing UV. And like I said, not a lot of people around this morning. Lot of nice, lovely people, friendly people as normal here in Murcia. And they're on the phones again. They can't live without the phones, can they? But it's a phone age. We all need is phones. You know, we're stuck with artist phones, to be honest. Now, it sounds like UK England's not had any rain, and it's been the same in the Philippines for a long time. But it's rainy season now. It's absolutely lovely. We actually get a bit of rain every day. And like I said, thunder and lightning and then the storm. It normally happens in the afternoon. We get a nice little bit of downpour. Great for the plants. But for the weeds, wow, the weeds grow about 6 inch a day. So a couple of days and they're a foot up. They just grow like crazy. But it's lovely for the plants. And it's early in the morning, as you can see. Now I'm going into this building and I'm going up the steps. And it looks like everyone is actually enjoying a spot of breakfast across the road there. So, looks like they're all in there this morning, very early this morning, and it looks like they're having a nice bit of food. So, we're near the garage. So, that's it, look. Everyone riding back to Smiles. So that's where they are, look. They're crossing the restaurant, the cafe, whatever you like to call it. All having a nice bite to eat. So, quite nice. No, we haven't been in the new place. We used to go to the old place all the time. That's the new place at the side of Pure Gold. So, we used to go to the old place round the corner at least 3 or 4 times a week, but we don't have the budget anymore, so we won't be going. Gloria, Lee, I hope you're having a great day. Thanks a lot, Gloria. Thanks a lot, Lee. Happy holiday, guys. Happy holiday, Lee. And, I hope you guys there back in the UK, I hope you're not suffering what's happening in the UK. Lots of bad things happening in the UK. Lots of invaders entering the country out across the road very safely. Now, children, just watch what the dog does and follow the dog's instructions, because he actually knows how to cross the road very safely. So, like I said, I'd love to actually go to this place. It's quite cheap. It's quite a cheap restaurant. So, it looks like everyone's enjoying it, nice bit of food. And like I said, you can see, I'm surprised there's so many in there. Looks like there's 3 or 4 families, but I'm surprised, Murcia, it's quite a busy town, and it's quite a nice town. And as I have said many times before, it's a friendly town, and it's got some great food. And I do like chicken deli as well, but chicken deli is quite expensive. But I do like chicken deli as well. But that's about most of the things to actually do here in Murcia is actually go for food, and then I walk round the plaza and basically not much else, to be very, very honest. But if you've got a bit of money, it's lovely to come into Murcia, have a nice bit of food, have a nice cup of coffee, chat to a few people, and it's quite lovely, to see everyone enjoying life, just going about life, the daily lives, as normal people. And you can see Murcia is quite changing. Lots of good things happening in Murcia. It's got quite a lot of improvements, the cafes, the restaurants, the roads around Murcia. And like I said, it looks like there's only going to be e-bikes allowed. Hello, good morning. Looks like there's only going to be e-bikes actually allowed in Murcia. basically stop the pollution in Murcia. Absolutely fabulous.